Why was Hiranyakashipu liberated? By Krishna's mercy. Hariha suresho narloka pujito hitaye lokasya characharasya. Kritva virupam cha puratmamayaya hiranyakam duhakkaram nakhaish chinat. Quote, Shri Hari, who is the Lord of the demigods, who is worshipped by the people of the world for benefiting the moving and non-moving beings of the world, took that dreadful form through his own energy and tore apart Hiranyakashipu, who caused suffering to so many with his nails. Narasimha Purana 44:43.
It is one of the greatest triumphs in history. You would have to search long and hard to find anything comparable. The perseverance was so amazing, the torture so severe, the resolution so unexpected, that I can understand why the less intelligent would relegate the accounts to mythology. It must not have happened, you see. It must be one of these stories to increase faith in God, who is otherwise a fictional character. It is a story they told believers over the years, across centuries, to maintain their faith. It is a way to rationalize the horrors, the abuses, the envy, the interference, and the generally tragic nature to the life experience. I am not within that category. I believe the accounts. I do not think Parasha Muni, Markandeya Rishi, or Shukadeva Goswami would waste time on mythology. They renounced this world. They set aside the fake in favor of the real. They understood the dreamlike existence through samsara, and so they intentionally and intelligently chose tattva as their constant companion. They pushed forward these histories, in the form of Purans, for the upliftment of mankind, who are otherwise in a constant struggle. The triumph of which I speak is Prahlad Maharaj, who happened to be targeted as an enemy by his own father in the kingdom of the Daityas. Vishnu finally appeared, after Prahlad underwent unspeakable torture. Vishnu showed himself as the amazing Narsingh, who used his nails to rip apart the perpetrator, the envious Hiranyakashipu. There are so many layers to the ordeal that a person could spend many lifetimes studying and appreciating the sequence of events, from beginning to end. But I would like to focus on an aspect I feel gets easily overlooked. We see that since Narsingh killed Hiranyakashipu, there were no lingering effects. The father received liberation. He was no longer subject to birth and death. In other words, the father received the highest benediction available in the human species. I get it that the justification is both from the victim's side and Hari's mercy. One who thinks of God, the person at the time of death, never has to take birth again. Prahlad held no resentment against the father. But what if others are not so quick to forgive? Just remember what Hiranyakashipu did. He fed his 5-year-old son to venomous snakes. He ordered the royal attendants to attack Prahlad with deadly weapons. Vishnu shastreshu yushmasu mai chasau yatha sthitaha daityasten satten ma kramantav ayudhaniva. Quote, O Daityas, just as Vishnu is in those weapons and also situated in me, so by that truth your weapons will not be able to overcome me. Prahlad Maharaj, Vishnu Purana 1 Tamand 17:33. Hiranyakashipu threw the innocent son off a cliff. There was intent to kill. The justification was that Prahlad was praising Vishnu. The son was praising the enemy as the father saw it. How can such acts be so quickly forgiven? More than forgiven, Hiranyakashipu was elevated to the highest region. Isn't that setting a bad example for others? You can be a horrible person and still be rewarded. Make it make sense.
Is not the death penalty enough for a murderer? In our ordinary dealings there are criminals, and there is apprehension. There is a trial by jury, and if there is a guilty verdict, the judge decides upon a sentence. After the sentence is handed down, Is there anything left to the affair? We might lament that the attack ever occurred. We feel for the parties involved, both the victims who had to endure the abuse and the people following the sinful way. But when there is a final conclusion, a reckoning of sorts, what is the use in holding on to the resentment? Goswami Tulsidas explains that good and bad, guna and dosha, are like different endpoints in illusion. They are not real, as the effects are only temporary. It is like seeing participants at different positions within a race. One person is in the front, leading the pack. Another person is way in the back. Irrespective of position, the people are in the race. They are operating within a specific system. Hari Maya, Krita Dosh Gun Binu Hari Bhajan Na Jahi. Bhajiya Ram Sab Kam Taji As Bichari Man Mahin. Quote, good and bad, which are part of the illusion created by Hari, cannot be removed without worshiping Hari. Keeping this in mind, worship Raman and renounce all desires. Dohavali 127. The same applies in the material world, in the aggregate view. One person is rising due to meritorious credits, sukriti. Another person is falling down due to sinful behavior, pop. If they are still in the material world, they are still bound. They are still within illusion. This illusion can only be removed by the help of Hari, who is the Supreme Lord. We may consider Hiranyakashipu to be a bad person, the epitome of evil, but he was involved in a temporary affair. Since he had the blessing of receiving the direct vision of Hari, he was liberated. He maintained that vision at the time of death. This is the mechanism for the travel of the living beings. Their consciousness carries forward, determining their next destination. The person who thinks of God while quitting their body attains a nature just like his. Antakale chamam ev, smaran muktva kalevaram, ya prayati samadbhavam, yati nastya atra sanshaya. Quote, and whoever, at the time of death, quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita 8.5. Those are not merely words spoken to alleviate the concern in a tense moment. It is a fact, proven in the killing of Hiranyakashipu. If Hari is the final arbiter, who are we to tell him to judge otherwise? The victim himself asked for liberation for the perpetrator. Prahlad held no animosity, despite being on the receiving end of undeserved punishment. Hari assured Prahlad that many previous generations, including the father, would be liberated, for they had such a wonderful devotee appear within their family. Shri Bhagavan Uwach, Dri Saptabhih Pita Putah, Pitribhi Sah Tenag, Yat Sadhosya Kulle Jato, Bhavan Vai Kul Pavanah. Quote, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Prahlad, O most pure, O great saintly person, your father has been purified, along with 21 forefathers in your family. Because you were born in this family, the entire dynasty has been purified. Srimad Bhagavatam 7-10, 18. Should we follow the way of Hiranyakashipu, then? Is there no difference between piety and sin? The distinction is that the paranoia from the Daitya leader was due to constant attention on Vishnu. He maintained a steadiness in thought and a consciousness connected to transcendence, whether he was aware or not. Prahlad had a similar connection, but on the positive side, and so he is beloved to this day, while the liberated father paints a vivid picture of the vulnerabilities to pursuing world domination independent of acknowledgement of the source of all strength. In closing, like with greatest rage to fill, repeatedly trying to kill, the 5-year-old son who worst crime had done, in worship of Vishnu steady, but soon as nursing ready, with nails only tearing apart, victim in glorious way to depart,